Welcome to another episode of the Sacred Roots podcast. So, you can't really see me right now, but you're listening to my voice. And I am dressed in a beautiful, very tight green dress that has a very long décolleté for the pleasure of my husband or my friends. And I have this very sensual red lipstick. And I dressed up like this on purpose for today's episode because we are going to talk about the whore wound. And you're going to get clarity on what the whore wound really is. So we've been doing this series where in the past two episodes, I told you about the witch wound, the bitch wound, and now we're getting to the last, the whore wound. And to be honest, I think the whore wound is the most ingrained in society and is probably going to take the most time to heal on a collective level. I don't think I'll ever even be able to witness that while I'm still alive, even though I would love to, and I'm going to make my best to help the collective on that level. It's going to take some time. This is why it's very important for me to actually talk about this. So these three wounds have been passed down, like I said, from Mary Magdalene. And if there is one thing that we know about Mary Magdalene, is that she was considered to be a whore, a prostitute. We don't know so much about Mary Magdalene. I mean, if you start reading channeled books and tap into the divine feminine and all these teachings, you're going to learn much more about Mary Magdalene. If you even got the chance of reading her own gospel, you're going to learn a lot about her and see that she was actually an equal teacher to Jesus. And they were really the sacred union, the divine feminine and divine masculine together. But what the church told us about her is that she was a whore. And then it's quite interesting to notice that one of the main things that we know about Mother Mary, Jesus' mother, is that she was a virgin. Don't you think it is quite interesting that these two main women that were around Jesus, the two things that we know about her and how they are mostly depicted are actually around their sexuality? Why talk about their sexuality so much? And why make their sexuality so dirty? So dirty to the point that Mother Mary, she doesn't have sex. No, she's a virgin. Jesus came just from the Holy Spirit. And Mary Magdalene, she was having a lot of sex, and so she was a whore. So it's either present and dirty or completely absent. No wonder we live in a society where if you wear a skirt that is a little bit too short, if you dance in a way that is too sexy, and if as a woman you sleep with 3 men the same week, you're going to be called a whore. There is so much shame, so much judgment, so much criticism around sexuality that it's so present we don't even question it until we start digging into where does this come from? Why is this really happening? And these whores, I mean, sacred sexuality and paying women to have sex is something that has always existed. So that's exactly what we're going to dive into this episode. And if you have kids around, or if there might be some sensitive ears around you, make sure to put some headphones. Maybe I should have said this a bit earlier, but it's fine. I said it now because we're going to dive deeply into that topic. So when you look into history, you see that women who were selling sex is something that has always existed. But most of these prostitutes, when you look a bit deeper, were actually priestesses. What's a priestess? A priestess is a bridge between the spiritual and the physical. And because men have more masculine energy, and masculine energy is all about the mind, rational thinking, logical thinking, structuring and doing, whereas for women, it's more about the body, really being in your senses, surrendering, being intuitive, being emotional. The fact that a man and a woman are making love on an energetical level, what is happening is that if a man tunes in to the woman's energy, he can open his energy field to the intuitive power of the woman. And so when a man is making love with a woman, she is actually blessing him with that portal to source. She can give him access to source. And if you have a very fulfilling intimacy, then you might have noticed that when you have an orgasm, sometimes you have visions. Sometimes you receive messages. And that's because sexuality it's something that is actually very, very sacred. It is your direct access to source. It is super powerful because when you have an orgasm, what is happening in your body is that your Kundalini energy is being released from your root chakra. And if all your chakras are aligned and they are turning properly, that energy is going to go up, 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 up and reach your 7th chakra. And the 7th chakra is the chakra of knowing and understanding. And a few of my spiritual friends that I have talked about this with, they all said to me, oh yeah, when I'm aligned and I'm in a good day and I'm having an orgasm, I have a Kundalini awakening and I receive very clear messages. And that sense of, I know, I understand life and I feel in my power like a damn goddess, that energy is very, very present. And so my belief, my personal belief, and pretty sure it's the belief of other spiritual teachers, is that the church knew about that. Men knew about that. They saw these women shaking, opening themselves, having these amazing orgasms, receiving these messages when they were making love with them and really tapping into source energy. And there's a part of them that didn't understand because men have more masculine energy and they really need to like consciously connect with the woman to be able to tap into the feminine energy that they have inside of them and like really make the energy move from the woman to the man. And like you can make that happen if you consciously focus on it. There are a lot of sacred sexual practices around that activate your magnetism, your healing abilities, your intuition, and so on. And so my belief is that men were afraid of that because they didn't understand it and they were actually kind of jealous of it. And so because they wanted to make sure that women wouldn't get too much in their power through sex, they made sure that sex would be seen as something dirty or absent. And it's kind of interesting to see that women in the Catholic Church were not allowed to have sex before they were married. And that's because once you're married, you have sex with one man, and then you're under the control of that man. Men could then control their wives and make sure to maybe not even give them orgasms so that they wouldn't discover their power in the moment of having that orgasm. And so the whole shame, the whole like dirty, vulgar image that we have around sexuality, it's actually the patriarchy in place that has taken our power away from us. And it's men that set that up that don't even exist today, but we are still being shamed because it's being passed down from generation to generation. And we are going to be called a whore if, like I said, we sleep with 1, 2, or 3 men on the same weekend, if we flirt with a guy, if we are dancing in a sensual way, if we're wearing a skirt that is too short, a dress that is too sexy, boobies that are too visible, we're going to be shamed for it. And it's not just men that are going to shame us for it. It's also women. We're also doing it to each other. because we're uncomfortable with our own sexuality. And so if we see a woman being very comfortable with her sexuality, we're going to shame her for it. And what is sexuality really? What is sacred sexuality? Sexual power, actually, I'm going to say it that way. Sexual power is creative power. And so making love, having sex, it's actually creating. You can create life, but you can also be in that moment of bliss and power, increase your own magnetism. That's what's happening when you're having a beautiful orgasm and consciously making the energy move to project it in your auric field. You're increasing your magnetism when you do that. You actually have amazing manifestation skills when you orgasm. If you have an orgasm and you speak out something that you desire, it's ultra, ultra potent. I'm really sharing like very deep secrets with you here. You're not going to find that anywhere unless you read books that you're not going to find in any library either. Anyways, where was I going now? I'm losing my thought because this conversation is so important. So what is sexuality? So making love and really being in your body, it's sensuality. It's creating the life that you desire. It's creating a life because you can potentially have a kid from it. A beautiful soul that is going to come through you. And it's all happening in your first and second chakra. And your second chakra, the Svadhisthana, it's the center of your power. It's the seat of your power. It's your womb. There is a child that is coming in your body through your womb. There's a soul that is going to land on the earth plane through your womb. If the soul can go that way, don't you think you can go the other way up? I tried it once. I visualized my womb and I actually saw a tunnel. And so I was discussing that with a friend and she said to me, why don't you explore and go up the tunnel? Maybe you're going to see where your son Benjamin is coming from, or maybe you're going to land somewhere else. And I did that. And I had a beautiful experience. Try it out for yourself. There is an access to source in your womb. Your soul, the soul of your baby is coming in through your body on earth, through that channel, but you can also go up and have a beautiful soul journey there, because we are spiritual beings in a physical body. And that spirituality, that world of spirit, the invisible, it's always accessible to you. You just need to make yourself available for it. And so a woman that is in her sexuality is a woman that is in her sensuality. And what is it to be in your sensuality? It's to be in your senses. We have 5 senses: touch. This is going to be hard to say them in English, but I'm going to try. Touch, taste, smell, eyes, hearing. Yeah, I think that's it. And then there's the 6th one, which is the intuition, which is your more spiritual sense. And then you have psychic abilities, and then we can go into clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairknowing, and all these things. But when you make love, when you are in sacred sexuality, you use your senses a lot. You touch the other person's skin, you hear them mourning, it's exciting you, you can see them, you kiss them, all the senses are involved. And so when all your senses are involved in your life, you're making love with life and you're creating the life that you desire. Again, we're coming back to the energy of desire, whether it's sexual desire or really desire for something else, because sexual desire is just creative desire. Can you see how sexuality and like your power of creating the life that you desire and really being in your senses, it's all connected. When you let go of these very bad images of sex is dirty, sex is bad, you shouldn't make love before marriage, you actually see that sexuality is pure magic. And that magic has been taken away from you. And maybe you don't even know how to access that magic because we've been conditioned to not be in our bodies, not be in our sensuality, not use all of our senses so that we wouldn't even be able to get to the point of having a fulfilling sexual life and potent orgasms. And because of that, part of your power has been taken away from you. I know I just dropped a big bomb here. I know. And it's hard because so many of us struggle with sexuality. Either we feel forced to by our partners, or we don't really have any pleasure, or we're not even comfortable in our bodies. Parts of our bodies bring up a lot of shame. And so if you're not comfortable in your own body, it's almost impossible for you to be very comfortable in the sacred act of making love to your partner. And then not even think about getting an orgasm if you're not comfortable in your own body. I've definitely had my own journey with this. I've been called a whore, definitely many times, because I've never been afraid to show my décolleté. You can see it because it's a podcast, even though I'm recording the video to have a little snippet on my audio on my Instagram. Unfortunately, there's the microphone. Maybe I can show you now. I've definitely been called a whore because I've never been afraid of showing my boobies. And you know by who? The people closest to me. People in my family. They didn't call me whores, but they were uncomfortable that I was so comfortable showing my boobies. Or putting them in advantage in a very sensual dress. I just came with that love of my body. I've been told I was chubby most of my life. And so I thought I was chubby and I started to believe it. But I came now to a place where I love my curves. I love my sensuality. I love my body. It's very feminine. And I know it's very attractive. Of course, it's not for everybody. Some men like really thin girls. Some men like bigger girls. But I know I have an exquisite beauty. And I'm not afraid of showing it. So you might be shocked that I'm using these words and that I'm talking about that, or that I'm talking about myself that way. But that shock that you're experiencing, it's conditioning from society. It's not even your shock. Or maybe it's because you wish you could say that about yourself. And so it's triggering. And so, like I have done in the past episodes, I always offered you some exercises and actually a way of reframing what a whore is to really actually show you what that energy is and how we can honor it again. And a whore is actually a great creatrix. It's a woman in her power, connected to her desires, creating the life that she desires. Whether her desires are sensual, sexual, intellectual, creative, it doesn't matter. It's all the same. And so a whore is a great creatrix. And so I'm going to ask you, does a great creatrix deserve to be shamed for her beauty? No. Does a great creatrix hides parts of her creativity for fear of being called names? No, she's in her power. She doesn't care. So I'm here to encourage you to praise your body, to look at yourself in the mirror. This is the exercise that I'm going to give you today. If you're not in a place where you can say, I love my body, I'm exquisite, I am tremendously beautiful, and men should be falling at my feet. if you're not saying that about yourself, and you're desiring to make peace with your body, do the exercise of looking at yourself in the mirror naked, fully naked. How often do you do that? It's not an easy exercise because we're used to like hiding parts of ourselves, or we get out of the shower, we quickly put a towel around us. Well, there, stop for a moment, get out of the shower, take the time to look at yourself in the mirror, fully naked. And because the mind always focuses on the things that go wrong or that you don't like, and our minds are just wired to be negative. But I'm sure that if you're listening to this podcast, you're trying to rewire you into just positive thinking because you have the awareness that your thought creates your reality. Then my invitation is for you to look at your body and notice the things that you like. Oh, I quite like my eyes. I like my lips. I like the length of my neck and how my collarbones are being shown and visible. I like my wrists. And maybe that's all that you're going to say for the first time. And that's okay. Do it again the next day. Oh, I like my eyes, my lips, my neck, my collarbone, my wrist. Actually, I quite like my waist as well. And my nails. Yeah, I really like my nails. And my hair every once in a while. And then that's going to be it. Do it again the next day. And just start noticing all the beautiful things about your body. And send your body that love. Because your body is a temple. And what is a temple? A temple, it's a place where we go to commune with spirit, connect with spirit. And your body, it's that bridge between the spiritual and the physical. It's what's allowing you as a spiritual being to be on the earth plane, to have this human experience. And your body is so wise. I mean, I still can't believe that I created a baby. And I don't even know why I say I created a baby, because really it's not me. It's the consciousness of my body. And it's so smart and so wise, and it heals itself. And I mean, I'm not doing a podcast on the wisdom of the body here, but maybe I should, because I'm really passionate about that too. More because I'm so amazed by all the things that the body does and how strong the body is. But that is also part of reclaiming the wisdom, the beauty, the intelligence of your body and loving it instead of feeling shame around it. And I'll tell you what, the more you honor your senses, the more you are in your senses. So, maybe you're going to start reclaiming that connection with all your senses through really enjoying the food. Now you're eating, smelling the flowers. Now it's spring, go outside and smell the flowers, like stimulate all your senses in your everyday life, because it's going to increase your presence in your sacred sexual practices with your partner. The more you actually do that and reconnect with your senses and bring presence in your sexuality, the more money is going to come into your life. Because sexual energy and money energy are both sides of the same coin. I'm going to repeat that so you can listen to it again. Sexual energy and money energy are both sides of the same coin. It's the same energy. When you are very present in the sexual exchange, you're actually calling in money, because money is feminine energy. Money flows. Money comes and goes. Think about the orgasm. It comes and goes, and you can have several or not at all. It goes in waves. Money is about receiving. As a woman, when you have sex, it's about receiving. In order to be able to have sex, you need to open. You need to surrender. You need to relax. In order to receive money, well, you need to be in your receiving, relaxed, open energy. You need to open yourself to receiving. It's the same energy. And money energy and sexual energy, they are both in the same chakra, the root chakra. I mean, some specialists say that sexual energy is in the Svadhisthana, the second chakra, the sacral, but they are very, very, very intertwined. So the more you explore pleasure, the more you're going to call in money. Money is also what helps you to create the life that you desire. Sexuality, sexual energy is creative energy. I mean, I could go on. I don't know if I already did a podcast about that. Let me know if you want me to do a podcast about that. But sexual energy and money energy are the same. And they both give you access to tremendous power. Another reason why sexuality was made dirty and disgusting, to make sure that you wouldn't have too much power and financial power. Because the more money you have, the more power you have. That is how this world functions. So, my darling, take a moment to really take this episode in, because I said a lot of things, and there are a lot of like different levels to everything that I shared. Maybe you want to listen to this episode again, integrate it again, and really ask yourself, how can I welcome more sensuality in my life? How can I take the time to dress up more in the morning, to love my body, to let go of all the shame that I have around my body, or all the fear that I have to dress in a sensual way? Because the more you dress in a sensual way, the more you as a woman, you're going to feel your beauty come out. When I take time in the morning to brush my hair, to put makeup on, my red lipstick, beautiful earrings, a sensual dress, I don't feel the same woman than 15 minutes before. Suddenly, I remember my power. I remember the queen that I am. I remember why I'm here. I remember that I can do and create whatever I want. And that energy that I'm stepping into and that I'm taking with me and just expressing throughout the day, it has a huge ripple effect on everything that I touch. So honor your body, honor your beauty. It is your superpower. This world is beautiful. Nature is stunning. It's not for you to be afraid of being beautiful and just wearing sweatpants because it's comfy, and you don't want to be called a whore if you wear a skirt that is too short. Allow yourself to be sensual, to be sexy, to love your body. And take time to make yourself beautiful in the morning. It is super powerful for a woman, because it has a huge ripple effect on everything that we do. And our power lies in there. I would love to know what resonated the most with you in this episode, and what you're going to start to implement into your life now to really reclaim your great creatrix power. So you can share it with me or tag me on social media. I would love to know. Share it with your friends as well, so that all these women can step into their sensuality, have orgasms, have pleasure, reclaim your desires, your beauty. It's so important. How would be this world if every woman thought that she was beautiful and sexy? So much better. All right. I'm sending you all my sexy love. And I will see you next week for a beautiful interview with a health practitioner. Bye-bye, my darling.